Welcome to Courageous Conversation with Teresa W. Gett, powered by Concierge Resource Professional Consultant.
And a young lady that's very near and dear to my heart. She is my niece, and that I pretty much helped practically raise, and that I have saw her grow into a beautiful, productive young adult. And she's still thriving and growing. She is a recently ordained deacon of her church. She is, I call her the one that keep the family together in her family unit. She's always the go-to person in the family. She's very dependent. She's reliable, resourceful. If she can help you, she will. If she can't, she will look for solutions. And she has raising three beautiful children, and recently just became a grandmother, which she is so adorable. So we're gonna bring my niece and a single mom of three. We're gonna bring her to the virtual stage. She's also a health and wellness entrepreneur with Total Life Changers. She has tremendously lost tons of weight. I mean, using this product, using the fitness, using everything so she can be able to maintain and keep up with all those multiple hats that she wears. So we're going to talk a little bit, toward the end of the conversation of how she are helping women, especially single women, and how her product help her special needs children focus and concentrate in school. So without further ado, we welcome to the stage. Miss Lucinda Jordan. Hey, ladies.
Hey, Auntie.
How are you doing?
Trying to get it together over here. Trying to get it together.
Well, that is the single mom life, is to do so. So today we're going to talk about, like we said in our advertisement, we're going to talk about what is an individual educational plan, an IEP. And we're located in the state of Florida. So you may have to check with your state's education department to see how they define an IEP and what an IEP means. But an IEP is an individual educational plan based on the abilities of your child. Not what the standards define, but what your child is able to comprehend at their level. So, Lucinda, tell me, what was it like? Let's first of all, I'm going to let you elaborate a little bit more. Tell everybody a little bit about you and your history.
Well, I'm a busy young lady. I really am. I couldn't have did it with God, because He's the one who lead me and guide me through this situation. And I do not want my children to fall through the cracks of the education system. I want them to get their high school diploma while they're young and it's fresh on their mind.
That's good. So, what was growing up like for you?
Staying in the house with grandparents in a house full of people, it was a little overwhelming. With them, I just want to break generational curse.
Okay.
I want to create generational wealth.
That's good. So what was school like for you in high school? What was your learning journey in school?
I can't remember my journey, my educational journey. I just know I was in school.
Just
learning wasn't interesting. It was just something that I knew I had to go to school every day. And I just knew I had problems, and I knew stuff wouldn't stick like it was supposed to. And using that stuff that's in school, we do need that in the world, because even running businesses, because that's one of my weaknesses is math. And I'm still fighting with that, but I'm not going to let it stop me, because I know I will get my GED before this year is out, because I've been battling with that for over about 20 years now, I believe.
So I understand and I know your journey, and I have been supported behind the scenes with you. So how important is it to have a teacher or an educator to understand where you are in order to help you master this math to pass the GED exam?
I need them to break it down where I can understand it, because as over time, I know what kind of learner I am. So if I get somebody to break it down to me where I can understand it better, I can pick it up faster, because it's to the point that it's two types of learners that I have found. It's visual and it's non-visual. And I am the visual, because
Okay.
even talking to my professor that's helping me in my math class, I have to tell him to write the problem out so I can see what I'm working with, versus you giving me the problem and I'm be like, okay, what is that is foreign? That's even like somebody giving me directions. I physically have to see where I'm going at, versus that person telling me where I'm going at, because I know what type of learner I am now, so I can rock with that.
That's good to know. And that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of that has to do with our culture, how we were raised. We are good steward workers. And the way we were raised and taught, we were shown, we was demonstrated how to do stuff. And a lot of educators do not have the patience and the time to want to show. They just want to tell and expect
Right.
you to comprehend it and then take it from there. But that's not always the case. So let's talk about these three amazing children you have. How many do you have? What's their
So
names and their grandbaby?
I have three. Matthew Norman, he's 17. Jeremiah Collins, 14. And Elizabeth, 12 years old.
And the granddaughter is...
She is about 2 weeks. India with her little cute self. That's AKA, that's my tater tot. I love her little self. That's my tater tot.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So as we were saying earlier, individual education plan is a detailed plan that is crafted for children with learning disabilities. In other words, they do not grasp things quicker than your traditional students. They have to have different modalities and manipulatives in place, like Lucinda just said, a visual learner. You need to give them a visual, which will be a video explanation of what they're supposed to do, step by step by step by step. Then you have the ones they have to have hands-on. They have to have, using manipulatives, for us learning how to count. I remember in school we used popsicle sticks to learn how to add, subtract, divide, multiply. So that's the purpose of that IEP, and that takes place in the guidance office. So in the guidance counselors, they have conducted a meeting which involved the parents and the teachers. So Lucinda, when you have IEP meetings for, I think it's Jeremiah and Elizabeth are your special needs children, correct?
Yes, correct.
What goes on in that IEP meeting that you learned along the way of what to do and not to do?
I have learned to ask a lot of valuable questions. On their end, they ask me what their strengths and their weaknesses are, and we work from there. And the thing is to put them in a environment where they understand the work, not just have them in school and just push them from grade to grade. I'm trying to see why they have all these F's and D's and they're not understanding the work that the teacher is giving them. It's just stuff like that that's my major concern, because I knew I had learning struggles. I know their dad has learning struggles. I know it runs in our family. So I know it's going to trickle down if I didn't get the help that they needed to be successful in life.
That's good. That's good. So what message do you have for parents who do not take the time and participate in these IEP meetings?
I need them to participate. A lot of questions. Be in your children's life, because don't wait till the last minute when it's senior year and you've been thinking your child has been getting all that help, instead it's hurting them.
Right. So that means they need to monitor to make sure the resources on that's written on the IEP is actually executed.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, because even with me in the times, I ain't never understand why their classes keep getting switched and see, like I told one teacher before, if don't call me if my child has been in your class a whole week and you calling me and you telling me my baby is not focused, because school is like you being in a family. Either you're going to have a teacher that's going to love you and make sure you have what you're going to do, or another family that just abuses you and you're off focus and you don't understand and you're just like being flipped back and forth. Of course you're not going to understand. Of course you're not going to focus. So don't call me if it's something minor like that.
Wow. So one thing that I do know, and from experience, that a lot of teachers are not always aware which students who have IEPs. So when this school year started for you, and
So I let everybody know.
what proactive things did you do that you want to recommend to parents that they need to do for their special needs?
Their first week of school, you need to email IEP teachers and let them know that your child is in that school. Your child has an IEP. How soon can you get an IEP meeting to understand what your child is learning?
Awesome. Awesome. So what about parent teacher conferences and open house? Have you attended those and participated in those, and were they valuable or beneficial for you?
Oh, yes. I have to make sure I'm at a meeting, because on the last meeting, I just found out some valuable information that I was not aware of. And as a teacher slash guidance counselor, I need them to be more positive than negative, because your job is to motivate and to educate children.
So this information that you recently learned in the state of Florida, for those of you that's watching and listening, there are 2 graduation tracks for special needs students. There is the certificate track, and there is a high school diploma track. And this goes into our next question about, do you know what your child's graduation status is? Because as a special needs student, you need to make sure they're on the track to get a diploma and not a certificate. So what happened, Lucinda, when you found out for your son Jared, that's in the 9th grade, that he was not on the diploma track? What happened? How did you find out about that?
By asking questions that I needed to know, because I knew my children are going to school to be successful in life. So my question was, will my child get a high school diploma? When I got the reaction that I got, I was like, that was disappointing.
What was the response? Jerry wants to go where for college?
He wants to go to Alabama State. And for the guidance counselor to just pretty much crush my baby dreams and tell him that he couldn't go because of the IEP track that he was on was disappointing. Instead of him saying this could have been the next option that we could do. Not sit there and tell my baby, ask him what college he wants to go to and tell him that he can't go. That's hurting for a child. That's mental abuse in my book.
Right.
And emotional abuse.
Right. So how did Jerry react when the guidance counselor told him he couldn't go to Alabama State?
He was hurt. He was hurt and he was disappointed. I already knew I was gonna get that phone call after the meeting to say, Mama, what's going on? No. Especially when one of his coaches is one of his teachers and advised me, tell your mama to take you out of there, because this is his 9th grade year. And as a football player in high school, I know the scouts are going to be looking, the scouts are going to be checking, and for him to be saying no, that he might be in school until he like the age of 22, 24, that's when their football year is in their prime. No, you will not do that to my child today, ma'am.
Right. So this is the point, and this is the reason, ladies and gentlemen, that we're having this conversation, because decisions are being made for our special needs children without consulting the parents. And that is the reason this whole series was implemented, because there was a lot of decisions being made on behalf of Lucinda children that she wasn't aware of. So now that you asked the question about Jerry graduation track, what steps are being taken now to make sure what steps do you need to take to make sure he's on that diploma track and not the certificate one?
To get in contact with education, Tallahassee Education, to find out what I need to do. Then I will let him stay in that these 2 years. After his 10th grade year, I will pull him from the IEP plan, make sure I will have some tutors on the side to help him finish pushing him to get his high school diploma that he worked so hard for, because he is the type that if he have an F or his GPA drop, he's on it. He's checking it, mama. What's up? I done turned my work in for this class, and this teacher tripping. Okay, okay, let me email the teacher. Let me see what's up. So he is one of those students that's on top of this, because his dream is to play football, and I'm not gonna push his dream like that. I believe my baby, he can do it, and I know he can do it. So me as a single parent, I'm going to make sure his dream come to pass.
That's good. That's good to know. So with you getting involved with the Florida Department of Education, what is the school district doing at their level to make sure he's on the right diploma track instead of certificate track?
The next step, I will be having a follow-up phone call tomorrow to see what all that would be in place, because like I said, I know I named 3 of my children, Matthew, Elizabeth, and Jeremiah, for a reason. Those names are powerful and they mean something. And in the spirit realm, like I said, my children will be successful. I will just plead the blood of Jesus on that.
Right. So what was your why for naming them Matthew, Jeremiah, and Elizabeth?
Because I wanted to give them a name that meant something, that could follow them, something that they understand. Because that's why I say I'm heavy in church, so they pretty much already, and when I was little, we used to walk around here speaking in tongues, praying. They was like, okay, what mama doing? So I haven't been doing it for so long now that they used to it, because Jeremiah even gets to the point now. And when he get mad, no, he did his tell my mama, you to use your deacon badge. I said, boy, sit down. Ain't nobody playing with you today.
Well, look, at least he recognized the title you carry.
Yeah, he does. And he made sure he acknowledged that to the T.
Yeah.
That's why I say your children know. Your children know when you fight for them, especially when it's just you are the only one in their lives. Yeah. That's why I said I think God have me single for a reason, because I need to focus this time and this attention on their schooling and on their well-being, because like I said, we're gonna break this generation of poverty. It has to start somewhere.
Right, you're right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to give you some content. Thank you so much, Lucinda, for that. That is powerful. That for those of you that live in the state of Florida, the Florida Department of Education, they have a website for Individual with Disabilities Act. It's called IDEA. And that anytime that you're having any problems or situations with your special needs children and you cannot get any answers or any participation from the school district, the next step is to contact this department. And they have investigators that will help you get the answers that you need, help you get the response that's necessary and explanation. If you are family members that support others that have children with special needs, make sure they have you listed on your, you have them listed on your emergency contact card where you can call on their behalf, especially being a single mom and working all the time. And you can't get off the job every time that an incident occurs or a situation happens to come to the campus. And now with COVID, you just can't pop up at the school no more. You have to have an appointment and it has to be scheduled. So for those who live in the state of Florida, the Florida Department of Education website is fldoe.org. And in the search, type in exceptional student education. So with that point, before we switch gears to about your amazing health and wellness entrepreneurship goals that you're doing, what are 5 best practices that you want to encourage parents and teachers and administrators to be able to holistically help special needs children?
First of all, I really need teachers that love their job to help children, not just to do this for a paycheck. Because parents like me, they don't pray about their seed. Just to communicate and to just to respond with us and let us know the information that we need to know. Because at the end of the day, like I said, I didn't want my child would have been really hurt if he couldn't find out he couldn't try to go to college at the end of the year and he then did everything he know he needed to do in school. Just show children that learning can be fun, learning can be interesting. If you get their attention on something that's interesting on them, it'll stick. That's why I say, I know learning is boring. That's why you have to make learning fun. And I just don't want to be overwhelmed with foolishness. See what you like? I have this 12-year-old. She need to go sit down and leave me alone. But it's because she feels how I feel when I say making learning fun.
Right.
Learning doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be boring.
Right.
These teachers today know what children like. They know they like to listen to the little. As a matter of fact, I think it's one teacher that he does little dances and little games with his class to make learning interesting.
Yeah, I agree. So let me put on my teacher hat for a minute, because I know I'm gonna have some teachers listening, and they're gonna always come from the lens of behavior issues. So when you are approached or contacted about behavior issues with Elizabeth and Jeremiah, what steps or proactive things that you do to help them with self-control?
Switch it, direct them. If you have to make them your helpers until you get to know them, like now, this is the beginning of the school year. They have been in school, what now, about a month or two. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you have to know your children, the children that you are gay. So I'm like, it's kind of hard because I want to say feel your children, get to know them, to see what kind of personality. Because half the time when you do meet children, you can tell which ones that's goofy. You can tell which one's the class clown. You tell the ones that's trouble. You pretty much can tell when you first meet that first set of group of children that you get. Mm-hmm. So that's like me. I go with the flow. I go with the spirit. So I feel like if I know you're more of a helper, then let me put you as a helper and you help me out with certain stuff until I really can get the click and feel your spirit to see what type of child you are.
That's good to know. And the reason she said that, she works in the daycare. So it's not like this. Lucinda is a single mom that do not know how to engage and interact with children. She's been working with daycare children as long as I can remember. So those are some good tips: to be interactive, to be engaging, to communicate, involve parents in the decision-making process. Don't exclude them, but involve them. And if they don't understand what is being asked of them to make a decision on, that's when we educators and administrators need to have patience to explain, to put it in writing, and then follow up everything that you say to the parent in an email so they can go back and process it later should they have questions after you have a conversation with them. Then lastly, if you have allies like aunts and uncles and grandmothers and sisters and even church members and pastors, to make sure that you all are the village to help that child. For the single moms, to get them where they need to be and where they need to go. So Lucinda, I thank you so much for sharing your experiences, and I'm very proud of you of advocating for your children and making sure that they're on the right track. And so we can be at the graduation. Hopefully COVID will be under control where we can go in person to see them both graduate and go on to do great things. So shifting gears to your life as a health and wellness entrepreneur, tell me what you learned about this health and wellness program products that you are selling, how they helped your special needs children when it comes to focusing.
When I first found out about TLC, it was just for me to lose weight. And I started with the T and the NutriVerse. Okay. As I started getting into the products, I found out they had other different products for other, pretty much a little bit everything. When I came across the NRG, that was for the kids as well. I found out it was good for energy and focus because that medicine that Vyvanse today was giving them and the medicine for ADHD, it just was throwing them off. When Elizabeth was taking it, she wasn't herself. She wasn't eating. She just was throwing up. And I was like, how can my baby go to school and learn like that and she's feeling that way? So I started giving her the NRG with the NutriVerse, and it just started. She loved it. Then that's when I found the NRG. I started playing with some more products. That's when I came with the Life Drops that gives you energy. That's good for your heart. It's good for your blood. It's like a lot of them, and no medical claims because I don't want nobody saying that I tried to heal them or stuff. But when you do take these products on a consistent basis, you have no problem. Sea moss, I done found out that's good for the mucus, your breathing. If you're a smoker, it's good for your lungs. This stuff is so wonderful. That's why I say I've been taking it for about almost 2 years, and I have to take it, and I have not been sick like that because with the schedule that I have, I can't afford to be sick. I don't have time to be sick. These children won't let me be sick. I have to be up 5 o'clock in the morning every morning on a consistent basis to make sure everybody go to school. I had to drop my little baby off first, then go take my other baby girl with me to school, take other people's children to school before I take her to school, and then do the things that I need to do throughout the day.
You've been listening to Courageous Conversation with Teresa W. Gamble. Courageous Conversation is powered by Concierge Resource Professional Consultant. Would you like to be a guest and have your story, lesson, and best practice to be captured in an audio cyclopedia? We are currently reviewing applications for future guests to join us, and we're especially interested in creating spaces for long-standing or multi-generational Black-owned businesses. For more information and to be considered, please email info@crpcnow.com to request an application. Be not weary in well-doing. You shall reap if you faint not. Galatians 6:9.